Hello and welcome to today's session. We're looking at the talent acquisition and recruitment function of the Human Resource in Practice program. In previous session, we have talked about HR planning, which is the foundation of it all. Without it, many organizations will face a lot of problems as we have experienced both in the past and in subsequent time. All right, now today we are going to be interpreting our plans. We have conducted our HR planning, we have done our research, we had already designed our program, our job description, we have looked at, identified the gaps in the organization. Now, how do we get people, qualified hands, according to that plan, according to the HR program, on board our company or on board our business? All right, so that is what we are going to be talking about. Now, HR planning is an effective way of hiring, which involves predicting the performance of people you do not know. All right. The point is this: before you hire anybody, except if you have worked with them in the past, it is to be assumed that you do not know these individuals, even if they were based on, if they come in based on referrals or somebody you have worked with in the past. You are to assume you do not really know them because they are coming on board a new platform, except in the cases or in a case where maybe they had exited the company and you are bringing them again, to come back and take up other roles because they already understand your culture, they understand how your business runs, and they are very much available, to take up other roles. Okay. But hiring, recruitment, talent management is being able to predict the performance of people you do not know even ahead of their onboarding. Now, at the end of this program, we'll be outlining the hiring process. We'll be learning how to develop questions that will lead to successful hiring. We'll be able to identify what questions you should ask and you cannot ask during an interview process. We'll learn how to evaluate an applicant, and we will consider tools that are best used to hire the best of candidates per time. Now, talent management as a whole, all right. Although it is usually when you talk about talent management is also called recruitment, but we need to understand that recruitment is just a part, it's just a face, of the entire talent management cycle. Now, what is talent management? Talent management is a systematic way, is a planned way, is your strategic effort put in by the team or by the company to attract, to retain, to develop, and to motivate your employees. Okay, a new hire or middle management, junior management, top management, depending on your target team for that period. All right. So it is much more than recruitment. Talent management as a whole is much more than recruitment. So you're looking at a systematic way of doing things, of getting people who are qualified for that role to take up responsibilities in your organization. You are looking at a systematic way that has been planned. Remember our HR planning process? Yes. So you will need to engage or return back to the drawing board when you need to interpret your talent management approach or your process. So it's your effort put in collaboration with the company to attract, to retain, to develop these people via training or personal development, capacity building, whatever method you have chosen to build up their abilities to deliver on the job, and also to engage them and motivate these people to be able to deliver on the job. Key things that you must consider in talent management is acquiring and assessing employees. Yes, so talent management will also involve acquiring and assessing employees, learning and development. We've talked about it. Performance management. You cannot just leave them alone, onboard them, and let them be on their own. You must consider performance management. You must consider ability to train them, improve their skills, and then help them to be able to, deliver adequately on the job. And how will you know they are delivering on the job? Measure their performance on a periodic basis. Without this, you will not know, except if that department or that unit or the task that they are engaged with has an obvious result. You can track their results over clearly. You can clearly see their results, and even by either looking at the records or by the results that you are seeing physically that is glaring, you can know that this person is delivering on the job or not. But there are some units, there are some departments that are maybe of support, that the analytics cannot, analytics by just maybe based on opinion or based on just being observant, will not be able to show you. So you need to refer back to data. You need to see what the results shows before you can say, oh yes, this person is performing on the job. Okay, and furthermore, it's important for a number of reasons. Talent management, outside of this the component, one of the key reasons why we must engage talent management is that it's important for a number of reasons. One, it changes the demand for certain occupations and jobs. It changes the demand, and it also is necessary because of the change in the functions, in information, in data that is released in the society. Things that are happening will require that we manage our talent, and we even plan ahead of their management. So I need talent, I need to manage the talents that are in my capacity, in my care, because of the changes that the job will require. Any job that does not engage or does not embrace change will become extinct, and employees who are taking on such responsibilities, such duties, will no longer be needed. So because of that, talent management needs to happen. Then cognitive and interpersonal skill requirements. Yes, because of this change that happens, there are other skills that will be required. New skills that will be onboarded. Few years ago, we didn't, at least in Africa, where I understand the climes well enough, we didn't easily see AI as an important tool that will be required in 2025. Okay, as at least as at the recording of this training material. But over time, tools have been introduced. AI came into play. There was a time it was all about social media, and all. There was a time it was the information age. Now it is big data, and then AI. We are going into other climes, other times, when we'll be talking about both the blend of both AI and human intelligence, which in some climes it is it's much more in activation. Okay, and in other climes we are just trying to engage this, to trying to test waters, as the case may be. So other important factor in managing talent is that it is an anticipated retirement of baby boomers. Yes, I would not like to stress on this because of transition in gender. As against just baby boomers, we have the millennials. Now what we are embracing, the team that we're embracing now, are the Gen Zs. Okay, we have the Gen Alphas that are coming on board, and somehow in their teenage age, in their teenage years, in preteens, in the young ones, these ones are also the future of employees in the nearest future, and they also somehow are learning the ropes of taking on some of these duties, even at a very young age. Okay, so there are anticipated retirement of baby boomers who be leaving the workspace. Millennials too are not exempted from this. There are anticipated retirement for also millennials. Okay, and then the Gen Zs are coming, also the Gen Alphas that we are preparing for. Now, developing managerial talent is important. That when you are able to manage your talent, what happens is that you are able to develop managerial talent. Now, let's go right into recruitment. What is recruitment? Now we have talked about talent management, the importance of talent management, the components of talent management. Now it is recruitment. Okay. Stage one of recruitment, we will need to look at the gaps and the needs analysis. We'll be looking at job description. We'll be identifying the recruitment processes. We'll be partnering with HR talent acquisition specialists and hiring managers. How do we partner with them? Then we determine recruitment sources. How do we get quality? Where can we find quality talent? Now, what is recruitment? Recruitment as a whole is one, attracting the process of attracting quality hands, the process of sorting out those applications, selecting your the best fit for the role, which will also cover interviewing, testing, sorting them out using leveraging applicants tracking system, that's the ATS, and other tools that can help you to be able to sieve out the application so at least you can narrow it down to the best fit. For those of us who will say, oh, I don't want to use the ATS, I don't want to use digital tools, of course you are going to take a lot of time, or it's going to take you time to sort out this. However, I will always encourage people to leverage technological tools because these tools will be of help a great deal to shorten, to save you some time and some energy in getting the best of candidates and completing your task on time. Now, when you are recruiting, all right, the first thing you must understand is that you must create the position. What is vacant? You have already identified the gaps. In HR planning, if you have gone through the HR planning course, you will understand that what HR planning is important and you would have identified the gap. Now we already know the position we want to fill. So, for example, we want to fill the role of a virtual assistant. We are to do what? We are to create that position. Based on planning, the position has been created as a vacant position. The second step is that the positions go through workflow approval processes. Now, as an HR practitioner, as an aspiring administrative assistant or operations personnel or a human resource practitioner, at the entry level, you cannot just give approval for yourself. So it's important that once this position has been created, the job description has been created, it is important that you do what? You follow due process. Move up to your supervisor, submit your work, and seek approval. Of course, ensure that the management has given you approval to carry on with what? Releasing the information to the general public or even within the organization internally for people who might be interested in taking up the role. So seek approval. Third step is that the position is received in HR. All right. Once you seek approval, if you are working with a large organization, then let the entire HR team have an understanding of what you are about. Okay. If you are a one-man firing squad or a one-man hiring squad, okay, once you have gotten approval, then yes, you can go ahead and take on the next step, which is talent acquisition specialist. Engaging a talent acquisition specialist in some cases, or with a hiring manager in some cases, you are to develop position and discuss recruitment strategy. All right. You are to do what? Work with the talent specialist or with the hiring manager to develop positions and discuss recruitment strategy. In this case, sometimes the technical department, if it's a technical unit, for example, if you need a virtual assistant for maybe like a geologist, okay, or the geological team, for example, in mining, all right, let me use the mining space as an example. You will also need to work with a technical specialist to be able to correctly and accurately describe the position and discuss the strategy. The fifth is position is posted on HR websites and career platforms. You can also consider what they call it. You can also consider social media platforms, the likes of LinkedIn. I'm not doing LinkedIn advert, but the likes of LinkedIn and other Indeed and other platforms that might be useful. But please bear in mind, not all roles can be placed on LinkedIn. I must tell you that. Not all roles might be able to be, might be, you might get results from placing roles on social media because the majority of persons are on the social spaces. Now, the LinkedIn, on the other hand, is more targeted at corporate organizations and professionals. All right. So bear in mind that what I'm trying to say is that you should consider the platform before you do what? You share your post, your vacancy. On each of these platforms, find out what the target market is, what target team are practically on that platform. So you can't say yes to LinkedIn or yes to Indeed and you're looking for an entry level cook for a private service. All right. So someone who has just cooked in a local area in a local community might not have access to LinkedIn or even an Android phone. So if you're looking for someone at such, you already know, maybe you will leverage WhatsApp communities or referral, okay, by people you already know who might be able to engage in such services. Now, in maximizing posting descriptions, what should you consider? When you are designing your job description, okay, designing your job description means that you're in the HR planning function, you had completed this task. So when you are designing the job call, your job advertisement, the material, the content of the job call will be taken from the documents or from the processes that have been designed or the items that have been put down, duties and responsibility put down during your HR programming or your HR planning process. Okay. So use conventional job titles. For example, you're looking for a virtual assistant. Keep it at virtual assistant. The moment you start complicating the job title, you will confuse your audience. You know you are looking for a virtual assistant, probably a virtual assistant in bracket, junior or entry level. Okay. The moment you are complicating and putting technical titles, are you trying to do? You are trying to confuse your audience. So consider that. Number two, keep abbreviations in mind. Not everyone understand your abbreviation. So when you're looking at the title of the job, when you are looking designing your duties and responsibilities, you are sharing the job summary, what you need to do is that keep it as simple as possible. Where you need to put um abbreviations like ERP, okay, where you have enterprise resource program or enterprise resource platform. The moment you put a short and abbreviation in bracket, ensure that you explain it in full. All right, like LHRC or LHR, Lighthouse HR Company or Lighthouse HR Limited. What happens is that the moment you put an abbreviation, ensure that you describe what you are trying to abbreviate so that your audience has an understanding of what you are doing. Number three, write job responsibilities using clear terms, using action words, clear terms. Now you understand that a virtual assistant, the illustration we are giving, a virtual assistant duty and responsibility, especially if it's administrative, will require that the person is able to send emails, the person is able to book appointments or book flights or make some payments or engage with certain people in office or people in office but you are running virtually or other remote staff. You must have an idea of what that job is. So let the duties and responsibilities be very clear. All right, there's no ambiguity, there's no confusion, simple terms and straight to the point. Then include time and travel requirements if need be. All right, so now the person might be a virtual assistant, but where travels are involved, all right, let it be clear. Where night engagements are involved, where overtime are involved, let it be clearly stated that overtime will be involved in this duty, in delivering on the job. Travels, whether local travels or international travels, will be required. Please state it there. Consider the length of the job description. Don't make it too long because some platforms have character limits. Some have character limits, word limits. Some will tell you just 1,000 characters or 500 characters. Some will tell you just 50 words maximum. Okay, so try as much as possible to limit your job description so it is not too long and people are not because of it, we're in the times when everything is quick, sharp, straight to the point, and summarized. Most people do not want to spend time having to do it, read that long a description. Okay. Now you can have a way where you have a summarized job call, and then anyone who is quickly interested at a glance can click on a button. If it's digital, can click, if it's digitized, that means meaning that it is placed on a digital platform, and click on a button to know more. All right. So for all of your when you're having a job description, you can have a link that tells them to know more. So the first time is for them to catch their attention. All right. They read it. Oh, they're excited, they're interested. Then they click on that button, who takes them to a full description of your job description, and then differentiate the requirements for each of these roles. What skills are you looking at? Yes. What skills are you looking at? Are you looking for extra certifications, professional certifications? Should they be BSc, HND, OND holders, diploma holders, or you want someone with master's, PhD degree certifications? Do you need extra? Do you need extra training, leadership training, people who have been on the job in the same industry? So if it's a virtual assistant for an FMCG, customer contact, virtual assistant but customer service, what skills exactly, what competencies, years of experience do you need? This has to be stated clearly in posting job descriptions. And then you must understand that when you are posting job description, it must also have deadlines. If there are no deadlines, you can put ongoing there. All right. And then finally, call to action. What action will you want them to take? What that means is that when they have read the description, they have read the job call, if it has a reference number, fine. How should they apply? The first thing is, you are saying they should send all applications, whether it's a CV, a resume, or a cover letter, or they should send their applications to recruitment@lighthousehrcompany.com.ng. That's an example. So if we are hiring at Lighthouse, if we are hiring for virtual assistant, we will say, how do I apply? All applications should be forwarded to your application should be forwarded to recruitment@lighthousehrcompany.com.ng. All right. Using, so for clarity's sake, using the title of the position as the subject of the mail if you are taking it via email. Okay. Now, when you are not taking it via email and you are applying on an ATS platform, all they have to do is just click on that and upload their CV or fill the form. Once they submit, the ATS will automatically receive their application, and then the recruiter in charge will access it via the platform. Now we have talked about the introduction to talent acquisition and recruitment. We have looked at talent management. We have started we're in the first stage, the stage one of recruitment. Now we will proceed to the stage two of the recruitment process. Join me in the next video. Thank you.